Florida knocking off Houston in dramatic fashion last night in the national championship game, 65-63, and the Gators are champs for the first time since Billy Donovan led the Gators to back-to-back titles in 2007, 2008. A hell of a basketball game, capping off an incredible Final Four. The 3 games of the Final Four decided by a total of 12 points in those 3 games combined.
Yeah, it was great for the game. The men's game had kind of been struggling a little bit with viewership over the last few years. I think that level of competitiveness and that competition, and high-level stars too playing really helped. It was absolutely fun to watch.
You can't help but feel bad for Houston, but you got to look at what the Florida Gators did to win that basketball game. We saw that Houston whittled away a 14-point lead late in the second half against Duke, and they end up winning by scoring 15 points in the final 2 minutes. The last 2 minutes of the national championship game, they don't put the ball through the hoop and they go scoreless, and they end up losing a 12-point lead late in the game. You feel for Houston, but at the same time, this is Florida's identity as well, is they drag you into deep water and they see if you can swim.
Well, and I think the thing that was really remarkable about this, and I think you'll see this across college athletics, the team that wins a championship like that over a long season, long tournament, you're going to play all sorts of different styles and all sorts of different teams that play different ways. And to win all those games, you have to be comfortable playing in a different style. And Florida, to me, won every which way that you could win. And they can win in the 90s, and they can win when it's 65-63 or 63-61, whatever the final was. Houston could not have won that game if it had gotten into the 70s. Florida figured out a way to win it in an ugly kind of fashion, and I don't think Houston could have played their way. And to all credit to Florida, they played Houston's way and figured out a way to win that game.
That Walter Clayton Jr. has been incredible. Back-to-back 30 pieces in the Elite Eight and Final Four. First person to do that since Larry Bird. It's always good to have your name brought up with guys like Larry Bird.
Bird was good.
He was all right at Indiana State.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
They were all right. He goes, his first free throw in points he made at the 14:56 mark of the game. He did not make a field goal until there was 7:54 to go in the basketball game. From that point on, he changed that game, though. He finished with 11 points. But on the defensive end of the floor, a guy who is known for that spark offensively, the last 2 possessions, he forces Sharp into a triple team where he gets stripped by Richard in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one, that run out, that closeout was so smart by Walter Clayton because so many guys will run straight at him. He picked a side and said, all right, I'm not going to go into you. I'm not going to let you draw a foul. I'm going to go to the side, and it threw Sharp for a loop, and he just had to watch the ball drop.
Yeah, I don't know where he's going to end up in the NBA, but I sure would like to coach that guy. He obviously is a very talented offensive player, and Houston did an incredible job face guarding him, chasing him off of every screen, doubling every single on-ball screen that he came off of. And most guys at that age would get frustrated having done what you said, right? 30 points, scoring 40. He just a scoring machine over the course of the tournament and could have gotten frustrated and checked out. He did not. And he continued to initiate their offense. He was unbelievable defensively the entire game. And his spacing, being out as far away as he was from the basket, allowed their bigs to get some easy stuff around the rim. I just think he's an incredible player. And when the moment was the biggest, he made the biggest play, and it wasn't making the shot. It was that closeout to lock up that game.
I'll tell you what, it is really hard, and you want to give all of the credit to Florida and what they did. Emmanuel Sharp for Houston, number 21, you feel for that kid.
Yeah.
He goes from being a hero in the city of Houston, a guy who brings a team back to the Final Four, goes back to a championship game, and you're on the cusp of winning it, and back-to-back offensive possessions are what people are going to remember his Houston basketball career for. You go from hero to persona non grata in that town. I feel for him on that. That is that's a tough way to end it.
Yeah, and these are kids, right? Like I mean, I know they're in their 20s, and this is an older group on the floor last night than normal that we've seen over the last few years. But they're still kids, and that is going to stick with him for a long time. But it's one of the things that, I think gets lost in sport. We always talk about the winner, right? Like the winner, you get to write history about the winners. You can learn so much from that situation. The fact that they got there, the fact that they made that city proud of what they're doing, and learn how to get up from that and move on with his life. And I'm sure his coaches are wrapping their arms around him and doing the work that nobody sees. You see him playing on the floor, but the work for that staff right now is making sure that kid feels good about himself. Not that it's okay to make those plays, but that life is going to continue to go on. It is just a basketball game. It's a big basketball game, but it's a basketball game. And that's what sport can teach kids.
They're going to be without LJ Cryer. Obviously, that's a big hit. Jawan Roberts is going to be gone. Those two guys are seniors. NBA prospects aside, you look at they could be returning Sharp, Uzan, and Tugler to that Houston lineup. I'm glad that it's not the end of the road, because if he was going to be a senior and that was going to be his final game, that's a tough way to go. But you just heard it in Kelvin Sampson after the game, just at a loss for how that game ended.
We have a set where I'm just going through those last two possessions more than anything else. It's incomprehensible in that situation. We couldn't get a shot. Got to get a shot. We're down 2, and obviously we didn't need a 3.
That's tough here in Kelvin's. Like, he's feeling like what we're all feeling. Like, in the moment, you're like, oh, I know exactly. I'm thinking of the last 2 possessions. It's the same kid. That's got to be impossible as a coach to navigate.
Yeah, I think I've been through similar things coaching. I had a kid, one of the best players in the country, an Olympian, turned the ball over with 13 seconds left, and all we needed to do was get fouled, and we win the NIT championship with 1 possession away. And so you see those kinds of things happen, but you have to give credit to Florida. It's not, everybody talks about making plays, and we all think offensive plays. You made a shot, you made a drive. Though Florida as a team and individually made the plays defensively to win that game.
Yeah. And now Todd Golden, 39 years old, becomes the youngest coach to win a title since Jimmy V back in 1983, where NC State beat Houston. 5 slamma-jamma. Like that's a rough one to be in.
Yeah.
But for Todd Golden at 39 in his 3rd year there, this has got to be a situation where what is next for Todd Golden? The pressure of a rising star and what the next steps are to be that guy moving forward.